Coronation Street is preparing a major development involving Todd Grimshaw and Sarah Platt, as the two characters are due to come face-to-face again in scenes airing next week. Todd previously made it clear that he wanted to distance himself from Sarah, but could his feelings now be starting to change? Their friendship has been under severe pressure since the truth emerged that Sarah was responsible for the death of Theo Silverton, who had been Todd's abusive partner. Once Todd discovered that Sarah was responsible for the murder, he decided to end their friendship. Todd has since traveled to Thailand in an attempt to clear his head and escape the turmoil surrounding the situation. However, he makes his return to the Weatherfield cobbles on Monday, August 17th. Shortly after arriving, he receives an unexpected request when Sarah asks him to come and see her behind bars. It appears that his time away has helped Todd gain some perspective, as he tells Sarah that he will still regard her as a close friend, despite everything that happened involving Theo. Sarah then explains that she ended her relationship with Kit Green because she wanted to safeguard his career and prevent her own situation from causing further problems for him. However, Sarah's decision could soon be put to the test when circumstances force her to consider contacting Kit once again. Her cellmate Casey discovers that her son has been arrested on suspicion of armed robbery and puts pressure on Sarah, threatening her unless she agrees to approach Kit and ask him for assistance. Sarah later tells Todd about what has happened, prompting him to encourage her to get in touch with Kit. Todd even volunteers to speak to Kit himself, although Sarah is clearly uncomfortable with the suggestion. Despite her hesitation, Todd decides to follow through and approaches Kit, informing him that Sarah needs to have a conversation with him. It remains unclear exactly where this storyline will lead, but many Coronation Street viewers are likely to be pleased that Todd and Sarah appear to be repairing their damaged friendship. The apparent reconciliation will also be welcomed by Gareth Pierce, who has previously explained how important the pair's relationship is to the ITV soap. Speaking exclusively to Digital Spy, Pierce described their friendship as a deeply meaningful and long-established part of the show. He explained that it is a relationship that both the cast and viewers would genuinely miss if it were permanently destroyed, adding that losing such an important bond would feel like giving up something significant. At the same time, the actor acknowledged just how serious the situation has become, pointing out that Todd's closest friend has now been connected to Theo's murder. He suggested that the high-pressure circumstances should make their relationship particularly interesting to watch as the storyline continues to unfold. Pierce, who first took on the role of Todd in 2020, therefore hinted that the soap has plenty of dramatic material to explore, as Todd and Sarah attempt to navigate the consequences of Theo's death while deciding whether their friendship can truly survive. Coronation Street sparks alarming Kit Green theories following secret phone call. Viewers suspect the unexplained conversation could be linked to a much bigger secret. Coronation Street fans have been trying to figure out what Kit Green might be concealing after he was seen receiving a highly unusual phone call. During scenes aired this week, the police detective was contacted unexpectedly by a woman whose identity was never revealed. However, Kit cut the conversation short before he could hear everything she had to say. Later, after enjoying several drinks at the bistro, Kit decided to get back in touch with the mysterious caller. He left a message identifying himself and said only that he would be there, leaving viewers wondering exactly where he intended to go. The bizarre phone exchange quickly prompted speculation among viewers, who have come up with several possible explanations for Kit's secretive behavior. One Reddit user questioned whether Kit might secretly be dealing with a serious health problem. They highlighted the fact that the caller used his full first name instead of the name Kit, while also suggesting that the organization he appeared to be contacting may have operated during set opening hours. The viewer theorized that Kit's statement that he would be there might mean he was confirming an appointment. They also questioned whether his recent drinking was genuinely caused solely by the emotional fallout from his breakup with Sarah. Another fan came up with an entirely different possibility, suggesting that Kit could be facing an investigation of some kind. They interpreted the way Kit abruptly brought the original conversation to an end as evidence that he may have been deliberately trying to avoid something. His increased alcohol consumption, they suggested, could also be his way of coping with or escaping a difficult situation. A third viewer was similarly convinced that the phone call could have much more significance than initially appears. They noted that Sarah had only broken things off with Kit the day before, making it seem rather unlikely that he would already have found a new job if employment was the reason behind the mysterious conversation. Instead, the fan wondered whether Kit might be struggling with an undisclosed illness and questioned whether his recent drinking could have something to do with his health. The use of Kit's full name, Christopher, also raised eyebrows. The caller did not refer to him as Kit, which is the name most people know him by. Nor did they address him by his police title, DC Green. Another potentially important detail was spotted when viewers noticed a photograph of Bernie displayed on Kit's phone shortly before he attempted to return the call. This small clue could eventually turn out to have greater significance. With another member of Bernie's family due to make an appearance in Weatherfield next week, some viewers have begun questioning whether Kit's mysterious call could somehow be tied to Bernie or one of her relatives. At this stage, however, there is no clear answer regarding who contacted Kit or what the conversation was really about. The unusual clues have nevertheless given Coronation Street fans plenty of material to analyze. Whatever Kit may be keeping to himself, there is growing speculation that his emotional turmoil following his split from Sarah could be just one element of a far more complicated storyline. Coronation Street scene hints at who could expose Ross, and it may not be Fizz. A recent Coronation Street scene has sparked speculation that Ross Wilkes could soon be caught out over his suspicious behavior and the lies surrounding Cassie Plummer's disappearance. While Fizz Dobbs is already beginning to question him, another character could potentially become involved. Ross narrowly avoided being exposed during Thursday's episode after a significant clue concerning Cassie's fate resurfaced. Cassie, played by Claire Sweeney, disappeared from the cobbles in a series of tense and mysterious scenes several weeks ago. Although there has been speculation that she could eventually return and may still be alive, Ross's increasingly suspicious actions have continued to raise questions. Fizz, who is married to Ross's son Tyrone Dobbs, has already started to become suspicious of her father-in-law. She cannot understand why Ross has been dishonest about when he last saw Cassie or where exactly he drove her in his car. The last time viewers saw Cassie, Ross had offered to give her a lift before locking the vehicle's doors and driving away at speed after issuing her with a threatening warning. Adding further suspicion, Ross later came into possession of a family photograph that Fizz had originally given to Cassie, something Cassie would have had little reason to simply hand over. That photograph became important again on Thursday, when Hope Stape, Cassie's granddaughter, spotted it. Fizz and Tyrone immediately questioned Ross about the picture and demanded answers about what had happened to Cassie. Ross, however, already appeared to have an explanation prepared. He claimed that Cassie had thrown the photograph at him because she had become fed up with everyone around her. He then insisted that he had been left unsure about what to say after the incident. Shortly afterwards, Fizz attempted to contact Cassie herself, only to receive no response. Tyrone did not initially seem particularly alarmed, explaining that he had not heard from Cassie since she left the previous week. Fizz pointed out that she had been sending Cassie numerous messages, but none of them had received a reply, leaving her increasingly uneasy about the situation. Tyrone reminded Fizz of Ross's explanation, but she quickly made it clear that this was simply Ross's account of what had happened. When Tyrone questioned why his father would have any reason to lie, Fizz was unable to explain her concerns before the conversation was interrupted. Coronation Street airs on weeknights at 8:30 p.m. on ITV1 and streams on ITVX.